Namaste friends. In this video, I will take you through the features of KPNoX Plus. This is the latest version of KPNoX Plus. You can actually click on this icon to see the build is 3.1.27 and this is up to date. We have also received quite a few queries and I'll try to address all of them in this video. But before we get started, the first thing is if you're not able to see the entire application window this way, then there is an issue with your screen resolution. So if you encounter screen resolution problems, please make sure that you set up your display settings correctly. So in Windows 10, you can right click on your desktop and choose display settings, so it will bring you to this screen. So make sure that the scale and layout is 100% and the display resolution is 1920 by 1080. Otherwise you may have issues in terms of seeing the complete screen. The second thing is we also had queries with regard to Prashna Kundli and Horari. As part of the demo, I will show you how you can manage all of that. Now coming to this, always make sure that you run KPNoX Plus as an admin, but by default at the time of installation KPNoX Plus will have admin privileges enabled. So if you right click on KPNoX Plus and you go to compatibility, you should be able to see this enabled. It says run this program as an admin. This is auto enabled. In case it is not enabled, please enable this. And if you have any compatibility issues, if your Windows is giving you any kind of an error, make sure that you run this in compatibility mode. So let's get to the program. Now KPNoX Plus, the moment you start the application, you should be able to see a window similar to this with three tabs, that is KPNoX Now, Client Manager and Reports. Before you start using the product, I would recommend that you click on the settings icon and set up, or rather configure it the way you want. So the first one is about the Rahu and Ketu calculation. By default it is set to mean. You can set it to true in case you are comfortable using true mode. The default chart type is North Indian, so you can see here that the chart is North Indian, so you can change it to East or South Indian format. You can also choose the default folder where you want the charts to be saved. If you don't set up anything here, it will assume that the charts will be saved in the same installation folder. You can see that there is a folder called charts here. So all the charts when you export are automatically saved in this folder. And you can also configure the sky view city. By default it is Dubai, but if it is some other city, please click on change city. It may take a few seconds to load because we have about 200,000 cities in the database, so it may take 8 to 10 seconds to load depending on your computer. And search for the city. For example, if you are in Mumbai, you can just search for Mumbai, select the name of the city and click on select. So it changes the sky view city for you. You can also input the astrologer details or the profile. So you can put the name, organization and any contact details. So this will come in handy when you export it. So you get to see your profile details in the export file. Once you have configured this, please make sure that you click on the update button. So KPNoX Now basically displays the Panchang details as of now. So you can see here that the sky view has been refreshed at 11:47. It refreshes every minute, so you get to see the latest information. It gives you details about sunrise, sunset for the location you have selected. So please make sure that you configure it here and then you get started with your application. So it gives you details of all the 9 planets and Fortuna plus the ascendant. The current ascendant is also shown here. You can see it here. Any planets in retro, they are displayed in red. So right now Saturn has turned retro, so you see Saturn also in red. Rahu and Ketu are always in retro, so they will always be shown in red. Now let's also one more thing, you can see the current ruling planets at the moment, at the given moment. At this time, these are the ruling planets. Now let's get to the client manager. This is where you get to manage all the horoscopes. So by default, you see a group called My Clients. You can change the name. So just double click on it. You can change the name, or you can also add multiple groups. Click on the icon here. So you can add as many groups as you want. And please remember, if you delete a group, all the horoscopes in that group will automatically get deleted. So you have to be a little careful when you use this option. Now, if you're ready to get started with the horoscope, just click on the add button. So the fields that you see here in bold are mandatory. So the client name. Now we had queries on how you can create Prashna Kundali. Prashna Kundali, there is no separate option here. Prashna Kundali simply means a chart which is created as of now, in the sense whenever you encounter the question. So if, let's assume, the person or the client asks you, when can I buy a car? When can I car? So this is your question, and by default KPNoX Plus will pick the current system time. So this is 7th June and you can see that the time is about 11:50 a.m. If it is Horary, only then you click on the Horary checkbox. You have numbers from 1 to 249. So generally the client can give you a seed number. We call this as a seed number. But I have had experiences where people generally give their lucky numbers as a seed number. So you may not be able to uh, predict accurately, because it's not the number that they think and give you. They just tell you, this is my lucky number. Lucky number is 7. In which case probably your prediction may go wrong. If you have a doubt, just pick a random number. Let the system generate a random number for you and you take the query. If not, simply go for Prashna Kundali. So just take the time, current time, and you select the city. If it is there in the list, you pick. Generally, the first time you use KPNoX Plus, this list is blank. So you can start searching. Let's say the client gave you Mumbai. The enter key, or you can also click on the search icon here. So as and when you create horoscopes, this list will get automatically updated under the previously used category. If not, you can always click on all cities, but please keep in mind it has to load close to 200,000 cities. So it may take a few seconds before the list appears. Okay. In this case, let me just pick Mumbai. So I'm going ahead with this as Prashna Kundali. If not, if the native has the birth details available, just take the birth details as it is. You can enter the date, month, year, and the time. Select the city and click on add. So KPNoX Plus will create the horoscope for you. The top portion displays details with regard to the sunrise, the sunset. This is for the city you have selected. Okay. Apart from that, you get to see the Paksha, Tithi, the Nakshatra, even the Fortuna gets calculated. You get to see the balance for the Dasha. So the starting point for this native, or rather the Prashna Kundali, is Venus Dasha, and this is the balance. If you have it set up or configured the chart type here in settings, as I showed you previously, you can also change that here. So if you want to have the chart in East Indian format, click on this. If you prefer the South Indian, you can change it here as well. So let's just go back to north, and you get to see the current transit here. Whatever you have seen in KPNoX now in the main window, you get to see the same thing here. These three planets are in retro. The ruling planets are calculated based on this time. If it is a birth chart, of course, the ruling planets at that time are calculated here and shown. And these are the planets at transit, meaning current transit. So in KP, we only refer to two charts. One is the Rashi chart, and the second one is the KP chart. The latest version of KPNoX Plus also has this small button here, so you can just see that planets are actually sorted by their degrees, Rashi degrees. It's not the actual degrees. You can see, if you want to see the actual degrees at which the planets are located, the status bar here will tell you that. For example, Ketu is at 207.12 degrees. But if you look at this, it gives you based on the Rashi. Please note that Rashi has a span of 30 degrees only. So this calculation is based on the Rashi degrees, and it is sorted. So you can see Saturn is at 1.17 least, and Rahu and Ketu are at 27.12. Now the other thing is, we have added tooltips wherever possible. So if let's say, for example, you take the mouse pointer over each of the houses here, it will tell you there are no planets in second house. If you hover here, planets in third house, so there is Ketu. Now you can see here that the degrees are displayed both as per Rashi as well as the actual degree. So as per the Rashi, it is 27.12, and the actual degree is 207.12. So you can similarly, you get details for each of the houses. So planets in ninth house, you can see there are 3 planets, and it gives you degrees for each of the planets. Let's move on to the planets tab. Here you get to see the information about all the 9 planets. In KPNoX Plus, we have sorted the planets based on the Vimshottari Dasha sequence. That's why you get to see that it starts with Ketu and ends with Mercury. KPNoX Plus was actually built with the aim that you should be able to learn more about KP or about Astro Vastu as you use the software. So here also you can see, if you hover over the mouse, you can see for each of the planets, it tells you the number that is assigned to the planet, astro number as we call it, and the number of Dasha years. So for example, Moon, the time frame is 10 years and the number for it assigned is 2. So you can get information about each of the planets here. So this table gives you all the information you need for each of the planets, starting with which house they are positioned in. Now this is as per the KP chart. The position is always as per the KP chart, and this is as per the Rashi chart, which particular Rashi each planet is located in. What are the houses that each of the planets own? Please note that Rahu and Ketu do not own houses. You have the sign lord, you have the star lord, sub lord, sub lord, the degree. This is the actual degree at which each of the planets are placed. You can see that in the status bar as well here. The nakshatra they are placed in and the pada. You also get to see whether it's tenanted or untenanted, and if a particular planet was in retro. As we saw before, Saturn is actually in retro, so you can see R here. These are the planet to house aspects. So each Rashi has a specific direction assigned. So you can see that here. For example, if you take Sagittarius, it represents northeast as a direction. The ruler is Jupiter. The element is fire. The modality is dual. Rashi number is 9. And the houses here rotate according to the chart. So what gets fixed is the top portion here up to Rashi, and the houses keep rotating based on the chart. Similarly, you have planet to planet aspects as well. So you can quickly filter. This is a complete list of all the aspects. If you just want to have a look at the positive aspects between planets, for example, Mars has a 30-degree positive aspect on Venus. That's what it means. Similarly, you can look at all the negative aspects. So you can say here that Saturn has a negative aspect of 90-degree on Rahu. Similarly, if you get back to this table, you can see for each of the planets both positive and negative aspects on specific houses. All red highlighted rows indicate negative aspects, and if it is green, it indicates positive aspect. Moving on to houses, or we also refer to it as cusp in KP. Cusp and house are one and the same. So you get to see houses from 1 to 12, the degrees they are at, and if you go back to charts, you can also see the starting degree for each of the cusps or houses. For example, this is the first cusp. So you can see it starts at 130.98. Similar to what we saw on the planets, you get to see the sign lord, star lord, sub, the nakshatra and pada as well. And the planets that signify each of the houses is also listed here. For example, 11th house is signified by Mercury alone. Similarly, under planet significators, you get to see, again you can see here it is sorted in the Vimshotri Dasha sequence from K2 to Mercury. You know whether it is tenanted or untenanted. From L1 to L4 you see what each planet signifies, and you also see if a particular planet is a star lord of a specific house. For example, here you can see Ketu is star lord of 1, 5 and 9. So if you get to this first house Ketu, fifth house Ketu and ninth house Ketu, so the same set of information is available in a single table here as well. Apart from that, you get to see 4-step significators, what each planet indicates at every step. Similarly, you get to see Nadi significators. So different schools of astrology use different tables here. So some people just look at the Nadi significators and give out predictions. Some of them go with 4-step significators. It is not necessary that you have to look at all the tables to make predictions. It depends on how you have been trained and which school of thought you come from. Then comes the Dasha tab, where you can see the current Dasha, the Antara and Sukshma are automatically highlighted, as you can see here. And the table below, it indicates what every single planet signifies, so you don't have to go back and forth in tabs to see what each planet signifies. You get the list right here. So you know Venus signifies 9, 10 and 3, and the star lord for Venus is Venus itself, and the sublord is Moon, which signifies 1 and 12. So the table below here will tell you which particular house is active as far as the sublord is concerned. So if I keep changing this, you can see for each Dasha, Bhukti, Antara, you can see which particular house is active as far as the sublord is concerned. And you have a very quick transit view here. So you can see the chart, you know where the planets are. So as of today, Moon is in the first house for whoever the native is. So you can quickly make predictions based on the transit as well. You can change the time. So if it is, let's say, at 4 p.m. So you can see this is where these are the degrees the planets are at. So you can change it to 5, 6, whatever time you want to look at. So accordingly, the chart here will change. Also, please keep in mind that if you change the format here, the chart type, it will change here as well. So let's go back to North. And the special aspects for three planets, which is Saturn, Mars and Jupiter, are calculated and shown here. Apart from that, you also get to see what Rahu and Ketu represent. Rahu and Ketu will always give the results of the sign lord and the star lord. So this will be the sign lord and this will be the star lord. Now if you go to the Vastu tab, this is especially useful for those who are into Astrovastu, because in Astrovastu we know that there are 16 directions and 32 entrances. There are 45 energy fields. So KPNoX Plus will automatically highlight the energy fields which are impacted in a negative manner based on the chart. So you can also see here which planets are actually impacting which directions or the houses, or planet to planet as well. So you can see here Saturn is impacting Rahu at 90 degrees in this particular direction. So this is East and ESE 6. So you can see here East and ESE 6. This particular area is impacted by Saturn. So the energy fields in this direction will automatically get highlighted in red. Then we also have the Lal Kitab. So Lal Kitab chart is displayed for the current running year. So since this is a Prashna Kundali and year is 0, the running year is 1. So this is the chart for the current running year. So you can select from 1 to 120, and let's say I want to pick the chart at 30. I get to see it here. This is the Lal Kitab annual chart for year 30, running year 30. And we have the Loshu grid also created. Loshu grid, basically it tells you which numbers are missing. So you can see here 3, 4, 5, 8 and 9, these numbers are missing in the chart, and the planes that also get impacted because of missing numbers, these are also highlighted in red. So the only positive aspect for this particular chart is the action power 276, and the grid is created for the date of birth that you have selected. And in the more tab, we have just added the Ashtavarga table as well. You can see here for each of the planets. The Rashis are fixed here from 1 to 12. Rashi is nothing but the zodiac sign. The houses rotate as we saw in the planets tab. And the planets that are considered are only 7. We don't consider Rahu and Ketu, and each of the planets also consider Lagna. So that calculation is automatically made here, and then the total number of points, the benefic points, is 337 always. So you can see for each of the houses how many points is being assigned from every single planet. You also get to see the Gemini significators here. So this is in descending order. You can see here there is Atmakarka, AK, AMK, BK. So if you are using Gemini for predictions, this table will be very useful to you. If you have given out any remedies, you can keep a tab of the remedies that you have issued. Let's say, for example, I just put it as just one. You can also pick the planet for which you have given the remedy. Let's say this is for Moon, the date on which you gave the remedy, and you add. So you can keep a tab of all the remedies that have been given for a particular planet on a particular date. You can also search based on this. I will show you towards the end of this demo how you can search for this. And if there are any comments that you would want to maintain, you can input even the comments and just click on update, so it saves it. Now coming to the 4 icons here, the first one is the transit view. So this is more detailed. You can see here this gives you for the entire month, and whatever is in red is in retro. So Mercury was in retro and it ended on 2nd of June. So you can also quickly double click on any cell, for example this one. So it gives you more details about moon transit for the entire 24 hours. So it starts at midnight, ends at 11 p.m. So if you want it in a 5-minute cycle, for example, I want to see between 10 to 11, I could just double click on that. So it gives me the transit for every 5 minutes. So you see what is the degree for the moon, what is the sign lord, star lord, sub lord, nakshatra and pada. So you can also quickly change from here itself, so you don't have to go back to this window every time to change it. So this is the transit part of it. Then of course you have an option for BTR. So if this is, assuming this is a natives chart, if you feel that certain things are not matching based on whatever the client is telling you, probably you may have to do BTR. So BTR here is based on the cuspal theory. So if assuming that it is not 11:50, it could be 52 or 53, for example. So you change the time to 53 and you just click on refresh. So you get to see the values that have changed. All the values that are shown in red have changed. So generally you compare with the sublords and you fix the time. So I have put up a separate video on how you can do BTR, so you can refer to that video. I will also give a link in the description box, so you can refer to it. If you feel that the time is corrected based on what you have selected here, you can simply click on accept. The third one is the chart rotation. So let's go back here. So if you want to rotate this chart to, let's say, the 7th house, so you can simply see here. You can also see that the caption changes, so it will tell you it has been rotated to the 7th house. This is the chart. You can always click on the same button to reset, so it will come back. And the last button is for exporting. Now if you see here, you have 3 different options. So first one is with Dasha and Bhukti only, which means it will give you information for Dasha and Bhukti only. Then it is DBA, so you get the 3 levels here, and if it is all the 4, it takes more time. So let's just say we export Dasha and Bhukti alone. So it should open in your default browser. You can see here, this is the export that has been generated, and it's fully customizable in the sense you can, each of these things that you see here is a variable, so you can move around this. If you are aware of HTML, it's very easy for you to customize it. So let me just show you this. This is the template file. You can modify this HTML file. Let me open this. You can see here, this is the actual template based on which this output is generated. So you can always change things around. These are referred to as the system variables, so you can reposition the variables the way you want. So you can pretty much customize the output format based on your requirement. And the latest version also allows you to open up multiple horoscopes. So if you have multiple ones across groups, you can open all of them simultaneously and keep it. So the last part I wanted to show you was with regard to the reports. So you can either search based on the client list, or you can also search based on the remedies that have been issued. So you can say that remedy was any date, or it was before this date, or between. So you can apply all these filters and you can search. Say for instance, I just hit on search, so you can see this is the remedy that has been given. You can always double click on the record that you see here to open the chart. So I hope that the demo has been quite useful to you. I have tried to answer as many queries as possible. If you still have any clarifications that you need, please do not hesitate to write to us. You can always contact the support team, and if you have any feedback, please do share it with us. Thanks for watching this video. Have a great day.